welcome to our first episode of the 7th inning stretch here on the Solano College Sports Network studio. I'm your host, Ryan Irwin, joined by me today, Josh Malika and Antonio Harris. And we'll be covering this up-and-coming MLB season for this year. We'll be going over free agency recap, the postseason predictions, and then also we'll jump into some of the predictions for who's going to win this year as far as divisions. But we'll start with the offseason. What did you guys think about the signings?
I think there's a lot of big names in the big market, of course, this offseason that was signed. Maybe the best offseason signings that we've ever seen so far. For in the past, decade? Not really a decade, but let's say 5 years, 6 years. And I want to start off with the starting pitchers, big names in the starting pitchers, with some big signings as well. We have Dylan Cease, who spent his last season with the Padres, signed with the Toronto Blue Jays for the AL champions of last year. We have 7 years, and he signed, I think, $210 million. And this was, according to TJ Martin of the Sporting News, he said that with the loss of Dylan Cease to the Padres, it's going to be a big loss for the Padres.
Obviously.
And they have acquired a lot of pitchers like Walker Buehler, Griffin Canning, and Herman Marquez, but it's not as talented. They're not as talented as Dylan Cease.
No.
One of the things, too, is they got Mason Miller at the deadline, which that was kind of out of the blue. We kind of figured, I kind of figured personally that the A's were going to trade Mason Miller because at the time he was probably easily the best closer in all of baseball.
No doubt.
I mean, he's throwing fastballs exceeding 102, 103 miles an hour at times. Was probably his best season last year, breakout season. And then just, again, like you were saying, Dylan Cease moving. That's a big loss for the Padres. They thought they were going to extend him. They were, from what I was reading, they were talking about trying to go through extensions with him, and just they couldn't really find anything. I mean, he did really good in the first half of the year last year, for the whole season. He was a Cy Young candidate at one point for them, and especially in the NL. And then he goes from there, goes to Toronto, which that was, I got to hand it to the Blue Jays. They almost took down the Dodgers, the evil empire. Anybody that isn't a Dodger fan is going to say that. The Dodgers, and we could jump in that too with Kyle Tucker, another guy that they go out and they sign. And it just feels like every year, every offseason, the Dodgers they get whatever they want, wherever they want. They want a player. It started with Ohtani, really, when Ohtani signed that. I think it was 800 million or something like that.
Yeah,
700 million.
15 years,
I think 10 years.
And all that money is, and they kind of started the whole deferment thing, which we can kind of talk about that a little bit. That's caused. That's probably going to be one of the causes to a lockout potentially going into next year. Framber Valdez goes to Detroit, which we can kind of talk about some of their signings. Justin Verlander also.
Going back home.
Yeah, he's a bona fide Hall of Famer at this point.
First ballot.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the Kyle Tucker signing. 4 years, $240 million. He had some good numbers last season. He was batting .266 with a .377 OBP and .464 slugging percentage. And this is what he told Jack Harris from New York Post after his debut in the spring training. So he said it's been pretty easy to feel welcome to everything. And according to Harris, what Kyle Tucker also said, that he felt good in both of his at-bats. Although he was grounded out, but still, he had a run scored, and they won against the Padres 5-1 last Sunday. And talking about going back to what we were discussing earlier, some big names in the starting pitchers. Framber Valdez. Something that the issue that I also want to bring up is with him reuniting with Justin Verlander at Detroit. And we all know that Detroit's starting pitcher is, of course, Tarik Skubal, who has an issue with his contract, like the contract arbitration that he has with the Tigers. My question is, what with the Framber Valdez signing to the Detroit Tigers, what does this mean to Tarik Skubal and the Detroit Tigers relationship, like their future?
Well, the funny thing that you mentioned, Tariq Schoolboy, I feel like he's going into this year, he's going to be, obviously he's going to have a lot of eyes on him, not just with the Tigers, but with the whole league. And there was a lot of speculation that he was going to get moved this offseason. One of the biggest stories that I remember reading, it was John Heyman that actually was one of the first people to report it. He wrote with New York Post, and he was talking about going into the offseason right after the final out of the World Series. He made a post on New York Times that Tariq Schoolboy was probably going to get moved, and there was a lot of steam with him. And then after that, nothing really happened. But one of the things too, his agent is Scott Boras. Scott Boras is
Probably
a very
agent
he's one of the most famous agents, not just in baseball, but you look around all sports. There's multiple athletes in other big sports that know who this guy is, that probably would love for him to represent them. He's also very controversial. He's known for being very feisty when it comes to ensuring that his clients get the money that maybe not all of them necessarily deserve. But the way that baseball is going, it's you have these billion-dollar contracts that are just being given out. You look at Juan Soto's deal with incentives. By the end of I think it's a 10-year career, he could potentially make up to $1 billion. He could be the first $1 billion player, along with Shohei. And one thing too, speaking of Tariq Schoolboy, Scott Boras talked about a very it's kind of a funny thing that they did, because you go back to what Tim Lincecum did back in, I believe it was 2013, when the Giants were talking about trying to extend Tim Lincecum after the 2012 season when they won the World Series, and they were fighting over arbitration. They didn't know if they wanted to extend him. They wanted to, but they didn't want to give him the money that he wanted. And Scott Boras was his agent. And so what he told Tim Lincecum to do was, he told him at their meeting, what would have been their final meeting for arbitration, he told him, bring your 2 Cy Young awards and set them on the table in front of Greg Johnson and the owners. Larry Baer was the president at the time. And so that's what he did. And he did that, and when he put those 2 down, he didn't say anything. He sat down with the 2 Cy Youngs, 2 World Series rings were on the table in front of the Giants, and it ultimately led to them basically giving him that I believe it was 2 to 3 year extension. Well, going back to Tariq Schoolboy, that's exactly what he told Tariq Schoolboy to do. He's now a 2-time Cy Young award-winning pitcher, and he did the exact same thing. And it ultimately, the arbitration sided with him. They paid him $30 million for this season, but he's going to be a free agent, obviously. And the Tigers were just in the playoffs, so you have to think, especially like you were saying, Josh, with them signing Framber Valdez and then bringing back Justin Verlander. We don't know how much of an effect Justin Verlander is going to have in this starting rotation. He pitched a lot for the Giants, but he didn't even get his first win until after the All-Star break. So, and then kind of just diving into the MLB season, as far as, I'll kind of stick with the Giants here. They signed Adrian Hauser. They brought in Tyler Mahle. Tyler Mahle was with he was with the Rangers, and Bruce Bochy came back to the Giants. He works now in their front office now. And then Tony Vitello, which I feel like that's another conversation too, is the first college coach to come from a college program and transfer directly to probably one of the most important positions in the whole game as far as a coaching, being a manager for one of the most historic franchises of all time. And he's been left with a hefty task, because this team, you look at the lineup, they got Luis Arraez,
3-time batting champion,
brought him in, bats about 300 every single year. Last year was his first year where he didn't bat 300. He batted 290 though. So the way you see it, it's still a solid year for him.
Still a solid number.
With him leading off, I think
with him and Rafael Devers.
Putting Devers there is another thing, and that trade was crazy. Getting Devers, I might be delusional here, but I really thought, because the Giants were probably playing their best baseball that they had been playing since the 2021 season when they traded for Devers, And I'll never forget that day. I was watching on ESPN, and
Watching
they
the
had
Dodgers
They had
game.
Kyle Harrison warming up in the bullpen.
Oh, yeah.
And you saw
Yes.
Bob Melvin walk down there, and he told Kyle Harrison, "You had just been traded."
I was actually
Yeah.
in that stadium. I don't know if
Yes.
I've ever shared to you guys. I was in that game.
You were at Dodger Stadium?
Dodger Stadium?
We were doing a national anthem, and I was looking at the bullpen of the Giants, and I saw Bob Melvin
Yeah.
approaching Kyle Harrison, who's warming up.
Yeah.
And he was giving something to Kyle Harrison, and I don't know what that is, but it looks like from Kyle Harrison's face and reaction, he was not happy about it, of course.
No, they
There might be a plane ticket going to Boston.
Yeah.
Who
Well,
knows?
he told him,
Mhm.
you know, he's basically like, "You're being traded." I'm not sure if they even told him. I mean, they told him he was being traded to Boston, obviously, but I don't think he probably realized
He was included
until
in any trade
after,
talks.
yeah,
Mhm.
that it was for one of the most premier hitters
Yeah.
of the last 10, 12 years, really. And he's a World Series champion, too. Rafi Devers won a
2018.
18 with the Red Sox, yeah.
with the Red Sox. Of course, Mookie Betts was on that team. Now he's with LA.
Yes.
So, I guess making some predictions as far as the division winners, we could start with the National League West. I mean,
Probably the most
I'm
stacked
a
division.
giant. Yeah,
I'm
it's
a
got to be
Giants
the
fan.
best. It's
Always a bloodbath.
it's definitely got to be the best division in baseball at this
Yes.
point. You have the Dodgers, obviously a super team at this point.
D-backs are coming back.
D-backs. I would like to think the D-backs are going to bounce back.
Exactly.
Yes,
They struggled a lot last year,
Yeah.
and I look at their talent and who they have out there. And of course, you have Corbin Carroll.
Yeah. Who just had surgery on his right hand.
They're a pitching rotation. It's young. They don't have a lot of flashy guys on there. They do have Rodriguez. He didn't have a very good season last year. But I would expect that he's going to bounce back. I don't.
Mhm.
You know, you can never count the D-backs out.
Yeah, no.
I feel like especially the
Especially
year.
after their 2023 Major
World
League-
Series
yeah,
run.
their World Series
Yeah.
run where they swept the Dodgers in the Division Series.
That was
Would've thought.
crazy.
Yeah.
And they
Who
won.
would've thought.
I think they won 83 games that
Yeah,
year.
they did.
83
they went,
games.
They went just for 500
Yeah.
and made the World Series.
And they went all the way. So it's like you can never.
I believe they lost to 6.
And that's the thing. Like I always talk about, like with baseball, especially with the way the divisions go, and you know, throughout the year you have injuries, trades, obviously.
Mhm.
I think just like for the Giants, if they could just find a way to not be 81 and 81 every
Yes.
year,
They were
they could get in. I
Yeah.
mean, realistically, they could get in.
I mean, on paper, this is probably their best lineup in
Yeah.
over a decade.
Yeah.
I mean, Arias, who bat you 300, he'll poke a ball, it'll be a single, or
Yeah.
might turn into a double. Rafi Devers will get you 35 to 40 home runs. Adames will get you 30. He did that last year.
Yeah.
First Giant to do it since Barry Bonds in 01.
Yeah. And he got it on
Chapman.
the final day.
Hey, don't count
Yeah.
out Matt Chapman too.
Chapman
Yeah.
will get you 20 to 25. Ramos will get you 20 home runs.
Yeah.
And they have
The
a deep
acquisition of
field too.
Harrison Bader, he might get you 20 also. So.
Yeah, no, we totally forgot to
And-
mention Harrison Bader.
And
Harrison
the
Bader.
new
Yeah.
prospect, Bryce Eldridge, he might be a sleeper prospect this
Yeah.
year. Might get you 20 home runs.
Yeah,
We'll go
Bryce
back to
Eldridge
that
too.
Arizona Diamondbacks situation. Of course, when it comes to their pitching rotation, you just added Corbin Burns.
Yeah.
Corbin Burns.
And they
for-
brought back Zach Allen, who was
Yep.
a free
You're
agent
gonna
this
be
year.
the best. I don't know. On my take, but it's gonna be the best 1-2 punch in the entire National League West. And they
Yeah.
brought back who?
Yeah.
I mean, no, not brought back, but they signed Nolan Arenado.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, Nolan Arenado.
Back in the
That's.
MLS.
I feel like that's a little bit of a sleeper. I
Mhm.
feel like a lot of people, and you know, he said too. I was watching. Well, it was Jeff Passan actually that came
Yeah.
out with an article about it. He interviewed Nolan Arenado about his departure from St. Louis. He was there for I think about 5 years, and you know, he said that he was really disappointed because when they first made that trade for him, they promised him basically, they were like, look, the Cardinals at the time, they were going in a really good direction. They looked like they were they were on the doorstep of being a really good team. I'm not sure what ended up happening with them. I think it's just a lot of their prospects didn't end up working out, and you know, they had Sonny Gray. Or they still have him, I think, right?
With who?
Stayed with the Sonny
I
Gray.
think He's with the Twins.
He's with the Twins
I
now,
think
yeah.
so, yeah.
No, he's
Well, at the time
actually,
he was with the Cardinals, and yeah, he was really good. He was
Yeah.
really good at that time.
Coming off, I think, as finalist for Cy Young with the
Yeah.
Athletics. So.
Yeah,
you mentioned Sonny Gray.
yeah,
And we also talked about the Red Sox earlier from
Yeah,
Rapid
yeah.
Devers. Actually, Sonny Gray is with the Red Sox. alongside with Ranger Suarez. They just signed the Red Sox, and
Yep.
they have the
Yeah.
best. The Red Sox signed these two players to partner up with Garrett Crochet, and they still want to compete in that division. And of course, after what happened last year against the Yankees in wild
Yeah.
card, they want to
Yeah.
go back on top once again. But for me, my take about the Red Sox is that they need to add more firepower on their
Yes.
offensive side, like sluggers and just
Yeah.
power hitters, in order for them to get back.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we all know AL East and
It's
it
always,
is,
it's always
is,
another bloodbath
is always and will be the bloodbath.
of the American League.
All
Yeah.
no, all baseball, the most competitive division in all of baseball, American League.
I would say
I'd say
honestly,
it's the NL West.
I would say
NL West.
the NL West. I
Yeah.
feel like at this point, but the problem is that I feel like until the Rockies get good, I feel like there's always going to be that debate, and who knows
Yeah.
when that's ever going to
Yeah.
happen.
Since when?
Like we don't. I
We got
kind
a lot of
of
time.
there's always that joke because people always joke about they're like you have the three-headed monster, and then the fourth is just like. You guys ever seen that meme
Yes,
with
it's
the
the
dragons?
goofball.
Yeah, and they put
I think that's a D-backs.
I feel bad for them. They have so much going for them. It feels like every year,
Mhm.
and they
Especially
constantly are
with-
getting like
especially with the Chris Bryant signing that
Yeah.
happened a couple years ago.
7
They
years.
gave him a fat contract.
Hundreds.
And me personally, I believe that after his 2016 season was probably the peak of his career. After he won National League MVP and came off a
Series.
World Series ring with the Chicago Cubs.
yeah,
I think a couple years later, they ended up trading him to San Francisco. It was part of that magical 2021 season where they won 170 games, barely beat the Dodgers by, I think, 1 game to win the division.
yeah,
And unfortunately, I think he was the runner on first when, I believe, weren't you there at that game? It
the
was,
Wilmer Flores.
The Wilmer Flores check swing.
I wasn't there,
Game 5.
but
Mhm.
I was at that's a whole.
I was at home.
I will defend that with my life,
Yes.
and I know people always say like when they talk about that they're like, oh yeah, there's no way Wilmer would have done anything. I'm like that year was so magical. I don't think
Yes.
you could have counted out any like moment like that because I go back to that season really in 2021 and
Mhm.
I'll just mention this real quick. Wilmer Flores took Kenley Jansen deep in the 9th inning
Mhm.
to give them the lead.
Yeah.
And that was, I mean, every series that they played that year was very important.
Yes.
Even like early on in the year, it felt very important
Important,
and
yeah.
very. And I'm hoping this year we can finally get back to like the Dodgers Giants rivalry because that's always been one of the most popular rivalries in all of sports. And
Yeah.
it just feels like the last few years, it just
There's been one side.
the Dodgers come to
Mhm.
town and just whoop our butts and
Yeah.
then they leave
As
and it's
always.
just like
It's been one
or we
side.
go there and it's just like yeah
Might
it's
win 1 or 2 games out of
Yeah.
the whole series.
and I'm hoping this year so like going back to the NL West predictions I'm not going to be biased. I think the
Yeah.
Dodgers are going to win the West. It's
Yeah.
I mean a given. I don't know if Kyle Tucker is worth $60 million a year though.
No.
I think that was
Mhm.
just
No.
I think that was just a signing that the Dodgers did it because they
Out
can.
of pettiness,
It was
yeah.
just a because I can type of signing.
Yeah.
I don't really think they signed him. I mean, they didn't need an outfielder. There's no way they were going to keep Michael Conforto.
No.
Michael Conforto left.
Yeah, he did
Yeah,
leave.
they had Tommy Edmonds starting
yeah.
the season on the IL, so
Yeah.
I think they have to go get an outfielder.
So, yeah, I think as far as who's coming in second,
Mainly between
I feel
the
like
Giants and the
it's going to be
Padres.
between the Giants and Padres,
Yes.
obviously. And I think the Giants, the question is going to be their pitching, obviously.
Mhm.
I mean, they did add, like I was saying earlier, they did add Adrian Hauser and Tyler Mahle, but I mean, you look at the younger arms in that rotation. You have Hayden Birdsong,
Is he
Landon
gonna-
Root.
Is he going to be a breakout star this year?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well,
hopefully.
I went to a few games last year
Mhm.
when he pitched and when he was coming out of the bullpen. I think was when he was the best
Yeah.
that I had saw him. But I think as far as the NL West, I'm gonna give it to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I hate saying it,
Yeah,
but
so do I.
it's.
I mean, it's a no-brainer.
I mean, anything can happen. We saw in the
They have one of the-
2021 year.
yes.
So, but
And they have probably the best rotation in all of baseball. Glasnow, Yamamoto, Snow,
yeah,
Roki Sasaki would have been in that rotation, but most likely
Yeah.
going to use them in the bullpen.
and then what about this is where it can get a little bit tricky. What about the NL Central and NL East?
I think the NL East. I think I'll take the Phillies winning it.
Phillies. Yeah.
Even though they did lose Ranger Suarez and I think who else did they lose?
No,
they didn't lose Alvarado.
They lost somebody else too.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was.
Was it Christopher Sanchez?
It was. No, I think he's still.
Was it Rhys Hoskins? I guess Rhys Hoskins.
Rhys Hoskins left. Yeah, he's on.
Rhys Hoskins left.
He's on the Brewers now.
Yeah.
Or he was last year. Yeah,
no,
the
no,
Phillies.
Rhys Hoskins.
The Phillies winning
The Phillies are going to win the East.
Yeah, Phillies winning the East seems like pretty. You could probably lock that. Yeah. And then the NL Central.
Cubs or Brewers?
Cubs,
yeah.
Cubs.
Either the Cubs or the Brewers for me.
I don't know. I mean, they just lost their starting pitcher and
Yeah.
Freddie Peralta.
Yeah.
So
The Brewers though, that for
Last
them
season,
they
last
have a
season.
they have a pitching lab there. I mean, it just seems like they can develop.
yeah.
Every time they lose somebody, I mean, this Mishawowski, is that how you say his
Yeah.
name? I'm probably completely
Mishawowski.
Yeah.
butchered his
Jacob
name, but
Misiorowski.
he came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
And then he
did.
started the All-Star game. Like, this kid is, I believe, he's 21 years old, throwing 103 miles an hour. That's just like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you see though
Yeah.
in baseball now, and you see these kids come out of nowhere. But the thing with the Brewers, like they lose a pitcher and they're okay
just
with
build a
it. You
new
know,
one.
they never pay their pitchers. That's the
No.
thing, and because they don't need to, they have an unlimited amount of
Mhm.
just pitching monsters down in their minor leagues that
Yeah.
they can just call up whenever, and they're really good at developing young arms, and they find these guys out of nowhere, and you know, so I feel like that could be kind of back and forth.
Yeah.
And then going into the American League,
AL
we
East.
start with the AL West.
I'm thinking the
What do you
Athletics.
guys? You think the A's can win it?
I think so. I mean, they just secured their young talent and Jacob Wilson, who just signed a 7-year contract. Lawrence Butler, Nick Kurtz, and their catcher Shane Langeliers. But they were probably one of those high offensive powered teams last year, but their pitching did give them away in most of their games. So
I mean, the Astros though.
With
Yeah.
The Astros. I mean, they've been winning that division for years.
yeah,
And this feels like the first year where
it's an open
it
division.
might be a little bit.
I think
open.
they fell off after that Framber Valdez departure.
Yeah. Well, and kind of with his departure, he couldn't get anyone to sign him
No.
at all the
After
whole
that,
offseason. He was supposed to be like,
a top free agent.
yeah, he was supposed to exceed like $250, $300 million. And he ended
Right.
up obviously getting, I think it was 3 years.
Yeah.
He went to Detroit. So,
I think.
but it was that
little
moment.
incident. with
Yeah, the
catcher.
incident where he crossed up the catcher.
After he gave up a home run, I think the catcher missignaled and gave.
Yeah, and he threw a
Spiked the
fastball
ball.
right off his face mask.
Yeah.
So you got the A's, AL West. I'm
Yeah.
going with the Mariners over
Yeah,
here.
VP champions.
Mariners, yeah. the
Seattle Mariners. Yeah, that's my prediction for them. I think they're gonna win at least 95 games this year.
Yeah,
Seattle Mariners.
Yeah.
yeah. I think, man, the Mariners have been big dumper.
Yeah.
First catcher to hit 60 home runs in a
Since-
single season.
Yeah, he's the first.
Yeah, he's the first catcher. I think the closest was catcher that hit 48. It was a long time ago.
Mike Piazza.
Johnny Bench.
There was Johnny Bench, yeah.
Oh, Johnny Bench.
Johnny Bench was the
Yeah.
last. I believe he was the closest. And
Yeah, he
then,
was.
yeah. And then Cal Raleigh, you look at that. That's tough.
Yeah.
I don't know about
The
that. I
A's.
feel like that's
Yeah,
not. The A's could win it. I feel like it is kind of an open
It is.
division, but the
The A's-
Mariners, you have Julio.
And then they're
Mhm.
pitching Brian
So-
Wu.
Yeah, Brian Rue. They have other. I mean, their bullpen is stacked.
Yeah.
Their bullpen is what really almost got them through all the way. Their
Yeah.
bullpen was really good, and that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. And then the American League Central. You guys going for that?
Who's in that division again?
I mean, last year the Tigers won it.
Yeah, Tigers.
There's no way they're gonna go back.
Tigers
to
are
back.
Tigers.
Tigers or Guardians? Toss up. I mean, the Guardians did.
Oh no,
make
excuse me.
that
Yeah, the Guardians won
miraculous
last year.
comeback last
Guardians,
year,
yeah.
15 games back, and somehow still won the division. So
Guardians are feisty.
yeah.
They came out of nowhere, really. They were, like you're saying, they
think
were
after
15
this-
games back at one point.
Yeah, 15.
The Tigers, I'm going to take the Tigers for that.
Yeah.
Tigers.
Because I just think, like, they just stacked up on pitching.
Yeah.
They got Framber Valdez, who I think he should have. I know that moment that what happened with him and the catcher.
Yeah.
I know, like, I understand why most teams were like, probably not
Yeah.
going to sign you. But he's still, like, a Cy
He's
Young
a-
candidate
yeah.
every single year.
And they were also just one game behind
Yeah.
the Guardians last year, if
Yeah.
I'm not
So,
mistaken.
yeah, I'm going to take the Tigers. And then they have Justin Verlander. I think Justin Verlander, because
He's
what
got it open.
he did with San Francisco last year, he didn't have the best defense
Mhm.
around him. And obviously he's a lot older, so
Yeah.
Mhm.
he's not going to be.
I mean, after the All-Star break, he did turn
Yeah.
back the clock a little bit and started throwing
Yeah.
7-8 innings. So
Yeah, and then, going after the trade deadline, he was starting to throw, like you were saying, like 5, 6, 7
Mhm.
innings. Where in the beginning of the year he was barely making it through 4.
yeah.
So,
Or
but I
getting
think
rattled.
Yeah, I think because he's back in Detroit, that's where he started his career.
That's where he won his
Yeah.
Cy Young.
Yeah, so I think that division, I'm gonna give it to Detroit,
Mhm.
and then the American League East.
Well, according to Will Leitch over here, he said that he's going to go with the Yankees.
Yankees.
Among all the 6 teams that are going to be coming out per division, although for him, after the failure of the Baltimore O's from last year, he still thinks that the Yankees have it all,
Well, the
especially with the
Orioles-
signing of Cody Bellinger.
Yeah, well they managed to keep Bellinger.
If
Yeah, they
and
did.
only they can stay healthy. I mean, it would be nice if they have Garrett Cole returning and will stay healthy for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
Yeah, their bullpen did give up a lot of games last year. I mean, after they traded for Canelo Ball, I think his first game as a Yankee, he ended up blowing the lead to the Marlins. It was a
Yeah.
12th inning game. Ended up blowing a lead, and he ultimately cost him that game. So
yeah, and well the Blue Jays too.
yeah, I'm gonna
Blue
say Blue
Jays.
Jays.
Yeah,
Their
they
pitching is with Trey Savage as a rookie last year, starting game 1.
just went to the World Series.
Yeah.
And that was one of the best World Series that I've watched in
Yes.
a long time. That
Mhm.
was chaotic.
Probably
And-
the best since I want to say 2018 or
Since the 2016, I would say.
18 or
yeah.
18, 16 or 14.
Yeah, that was. You can't ever count the Blue Jays out.
No.
They
Mhm.
Ernie Clement,
Yes.
that guy came out of nowhere. That guy reminded me a lot. And when I was watching the World Series, Ernie Clement, that guy reminded me a lot of Marco Scudero.
Yes.
He was like
Mark
he's
Scudero.
he's pure contact. He doesn't hit for power, but he's
No.
gonna drive you in. He
Yes.
drives and runs consistently. He had probably one of the best offensive postseasons that I've seen from a hitter in a long time because so many different factors. He's not hitting for power,
No.
which is what you usually see.
Yeah.
So his average is through the roof. I think he hit 400 the whole postseason. So, and then he had a lot of big moments in the World Series for
Yeah.
them.
Marcus Scudero reminded me that he was the NLCS MVP back
Yeah,
in
see, so
2010.
and it was all
2010,
pure.
2010 or 12.
Yeah, it was all pure contact. So,
Yeah.
then am I missing a division in the American League?
I think we all
I
discussed
think
about
we
the
got-
AL
yeah,
East,
yeah,
3
yeah.
divisions per
Yep. I think
weeks.
okay.
Yeah.
So then, I guess we'll end it with predictions for postseason and
Mhm.
the World
Awards.
Series. What do you guys got? Because I know
Okay.
who I'm going with.
I know you got some first, but
I hate to say this, but I think the Dodgers are going to three-peat.
Dodgers are going to three-peat.
I believe they're going to three-peat, but I hate to say it because I'm a Giants fan, but I think
Mhm.
they are going to three-peat.
They're going to three-peat.
I think so. Because they do have one of the best bullpens in baseball with Edwin Diaz as their closer. They leaned on Roki Sasaki last year a lot in the bullpen. Let's see where he falls to the star-studded rotation. But I do want to mention that their rotation, Dodgers rotation ends up getting hurt a lot at the very beginning of the season. Last year you saw that Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Yamamoto, Sasaki, all their star pitchers and bullpen guys were all on the IR last year.
Yeah.
give me a Subway Series.
Subway Series.
Come on.
Subway Series.
Mets and the Yankees.
That
Since 2000. Give me a Subway
the
Series.
The Mets are probably looking to bounce back. They didn't even make the playoffs last year.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Trying to look at a bounce back.
Yeah.
And this is what the legendary Darryl Strawberry has to say with Pete Alonso's departure. So, we all know that Pete Alonso broke Darryl Strawberry's
he did.
home run
Yeah.
record in franchise history, and this is what he has to say. Pete Alonso is going to regret leaving the Mets. He could have stayed and broke other records in franchise history and just go down as the greatest Met of all time. That's what he had to say.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, he went. Forgot to mention this. He went to the Orioles.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
he signed that
Another
5-year.
team made
Yeah.
a lot of acquisitions this offseason.
Yeah, that was.
I think I'm gonna change my pick to the East. I think the Blue Jays are still gonna win the East, but the Orioles might come in second.
Yeah, the Orioles. Yeah, I think they could have a chance to.
They could do some damage.
Yeah, they could have a deep run if they get
Mhm.
in. I'd have the Orioles get into the playoffs. I think they'll get in.
Yeah.
He'll bounce back.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then
I still think the Giants can get in the playoffs.
yeah.
I mean, once they get into the playoffs, it's uphill from there. I mean, they can make some, like I said, they can do some damage with that lineup,
Yeah.
especially with the Rise leading off and Logan Webb starting game 1,
Yeah.
and then game 2 will be Robbie Ray.
Robert Ray.
Yeah.
Just love Robert Ray.
So you
Nice.
could, I mean, I got the Giants getting in too.
Yeah.
I think their lineup alone should win them at least 88, 90 games. And especially if, everything's going to click. You're going to have Rafi in there. I got Rafi probably hitting he's going to definitely hit 30.
Maybe
I-
40.
I have him hitting 40 this
Yeah,
year.
40
I think
home
that
runs.
was one of the things
Yeah.
that I was thinking about. Just because,
How many splash hits?
he's splash hits, yeah.
Splash hits, yeah.
And but that's the thing about him, he's so opposite field.
Yeah.
He doesn't pull the ball a lot. But if they can work with him and get him to pull the ball, because the problem with the ballpark is
It's
it's
not a
not
hitters friendly ballpark.
made for
Hitters.
hitting it to the opposite field. It's not made for hitters at all.
Mhm.
But if you're a hitter that your approach is to the opposite field, even if you have a lot of power, unless your name is Barry Bonds,
Yeah.
you're not going to be hitting the ball out of the ballpark very well. And I think if they can work with Devers and try to make him more of a pull hitter,
Mm-hmm.
I can only imagine the amount of splash hits he's going to
Yeah.
hit. He's here for 9 more years, and maybe, well, actually it's 7, because you count count them last year. So, but yeah, so I think for me, the Dodgers are going to probably be in the World Series, and I'm going to go with the World Series rematch.
Yeah, well,
I think
I
I got
Jays.
I got Dodgers and Blue Jays, and I think this time the Blue Jays are going to win it. Because they loaded up with Dylan Cease. They were so close.
Yes.
They were literally a play at the plate away from
Yes.
winning the World Series. Will Smith's foot was on the bag by this much.
Yes.
Like the case
So,
of 3-pointer.
He was
Whoever that was sliding in the home plate, if you slide it on that plate, you should have slid in head first.
Exactly.
That's what I said.
Should have
dived into it.
Yeah,
If he
you
would have
should've dove into head
yeah.
first.
If he would have went in head first, and I always thought if he would have went in head first, he probably would have been safe.
Yes.
But it was so close anyway. And then you had Justin Dean in the outfield doing the
Yeah, ball stuck.
dead
And
ball.
then Kike obviously getting dunked on
Yeah.
by his teammate Miguel Rojas.
That was
Yes.
heck of funny. So I got my predictions. I was for the World Series. Blue Jays win it, rematch. You
Mhm.
have Subway Series.
Subway Series, yeah.
And then
I did say the
Dodgers.
I want to say Dodgers Mariners.
Dodgers Mariners.
Yes.
You got Mariners making it.
Yes.
Big dumper in the World Series. Hey, you know what? I'll take that. That
Was the World Series I wanted
yeah.
last year too, but they didn't work out because you had an All-Star and Brian Wu who didn't make enough
Yeah.
appearances in the postseason. And I'm sitting there watching the game and I'm like, why don't they use their Brian Wu in Game 7 to throw him a lot I think the game went in extra innings.
Yeah.
Why didn't they throw him a lot? But
Yeah.
their manager is the manager for a reason, so.
Yeah. Well, that'll just about do it here on the Solano, here at Solano College Sports Network studio for our first episode of the 7th inning stretch. Once again, I'm your host, Ryan Irwin. Joined with me today, Josh Mawika and Antonio Harris. Until next time, we'll see you.